Okay, hold on. Before we do the intro, this kind of feels weird. Like, normally we do interview, like, people who are older than us, but, like, it's been so long since you've been in high school that, like, it feels weird to interview, like, someone, like, professional now.
No, I now teach high school, so.
That's awesome. Wait, what subject do you teach?
I teach English.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, 9th and 10th grade.
Welcome back to Honeycombing with Alison and Nathan.
Well, we're here today to get the buzz on Miranda Cornell. All right, so we're here today to talk to Miranda about the piece that she had submitted to the Echo magazine called Free Heads. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
It's a pretty spooky story. I really enjoyed reading it.
I do not like spooky stuff, but it was really good.
I was going to say, I'm surprised Nathan was able to read this because he read one about a mermaid and he couldn't take it.
The siren one, right? It was called
Yeah.
The
Yes,
Siren.
have you seen it?
Yeah. No, my best friend at the time wrote it. It's been a long time.
It's cool,
Like I said,
cool.
it's been a long time.
Yeah, no, but he can't do spooky stuff, so I'm proud of him for getting through this one.
Thank you.
That's all I wrote while I was in high school is the spooky stuff.
So you'd say, like, you're a horror writer then? Like,
Not necessarily. It's just during that time I was just really into that kind of thing. Now I'm not really. But during the time period, I really liked doing those kind of poems and short stories.
so like,
So were there...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry.
You didn't do the thing. To, like,
I did.
Oh, that's
I did, yeah. Okay, sorry. So were there any outside influences at the time you were really into writing all the spooky stuff that inspired you?
Well, not really. Okay, back in high school, I was sort of like, I wouldn't say an emo kid. That is not the word I want to use, but alternative was definitely the word. So I really liked reading horror genre. I liked spookier things. I liked listening to edgier music back then. And I don't know, because I'm not a person who likes to watch horror movies. I can't stand them. But during this time, I was like, I'm just going to write my own kind of spooky story, I guess. And, after you guys reached out and asked me, which we want to talk about your short story, I was like, okay, I'll pull out my old writing journals. And I'm like, okay, I bet I can find it. And I did. And
have you seen the movie Brave by any chance?
The Disney one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it felt like that old-timey setting in, like, the witch's house, and I was like, okay, I'm painting, like, a picture, because, like, you're really descriptive, but, like, the picture I had to begin with was Brave, but, like, it was a dude instead of the girl, and, like, it was a little bit more creepy than that, because it was about bears and not, heads.
Yeah. I think it was one of those things, like, I liked the idea of, everything is not as it seems, like, something appearing, maybe like Harry Potter-esque, where like,
Yeah. No, I thought that was so cool. How the character walks in and sees all these mannequin heads, and then as soon as he starts walking back to his family, like you give the reader hints that it becomes real, and he doesn't realize that until the end.
Until his mom starts screaming, yes.
Yeah.
That he just thinks it's, I'm just carrying home like a treasure I found or was given. And it wasn't until his mom starts freaking out that he's like, oh, what? This is odd.
So do you have, like, a favorite part, like, in your piece that you'd like to read to, like, the viewer?
That I would like to read. Well, my favorite part, wow, that's difficult. But I actually really like the part where he's interacting with the witch herself, because she's a very interesting character. Like, I don't know what I was going for when I was writing her, but I like how she talks to him. I like how my eyes were attracted to a mason jar that sat on the nearest shelf. Inside the dusty jar was a thick murky green liquid that resembled mother's boiled greens. As I reached for the odd jar, I couldn't help but feel a slight breeze down my neck. Interesting find, muck from the black swamps. I jerked away from the voice as a yelp escaped my lips. The voice cackled, "Jumpy?" I turned towards the voice to reveal an old, wrinkled woman. She was stooped over, a walking stick in hand. Her frail body was covered by multicolored scarves with beads and coins adorning her ends. Her hair was a stringy gray mass that sat atop of her head. Her earlobes were stretched halfway down her neck by large golden earrings. Her fingers were decorated by brightly colored rings that made it difficult for her to bend her fingers. She smiled at me, revealing missing, broken teeth. Are you the witch?" The old woman raised a silver eyebrow. Maybe not. She slowly turned around and started walking further into the store. Not knowing what to do, I followed her. She led me into a dark room in the back of the store. She flipped a switch, turning on a lone, bare bulb that resided in the room. My eyes widened as my gaze locked onto the rows of life-size mannequin heads. "Are those real?" The woman smiled at me. "No, my child, but they look the part, don't they?" I nodded and looked back at the realistic mannequin heads. "Would you like one, my child?" she asked. I nodded, still looking at each head's features. "Well, pick one out." I scanned the rows of shelves. Finally, one caught my attention. That one. I lifted up a chubby finger and pointed at a small head that was at the bottom row. The woman gave me a knowing look. "Why that one?" I shrugged. "It reminds me of my long-lost sister." Her eyes widened, but she didn't question me. She walked over to the shelf and gently picked up the small, childlike head. She placed it in my hands. I was surprised at how light and intricate the head was. "Thank you," I said, looking down at the head. Cradling. Behind me, the old woman cleared her throat. "Now run along. You don't want your mother to worry." She gently pushed me towards the front of the door. Taking the hint, I ran out the old building that housed wonders and secrets. And that's basically it, the conversation between the two. But I really like that moment
It was
because
really good.
Yeah, I love it.
obviously she knows.
Oh, yeah.
She led him into the back of the room where she knows he would find them. And she lies saying they're not real, but they are.
Yeah.
You know? And you have to just kind of, the more, the creepy part of the story is, how'd she get them?
Right. That was a
Yeah.
question that I was left with when I was reading it. I was like, so was the witch the one that killed all of the people, or did she just, she's creepy, so she just found a way to like acquire them and stuff? Like, it was so intriguing.
Felt the story a lot more.
You read out loud really pretty.
Thanks. I'm sorry I messed up a few times there. It's really hard. I mean, I tell you, I read faster with my eyes than my voice.
Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah. So how was your time in the Echo? I know it's been a while.
It's been a long time, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I started it when I was a sophomore, so I was in 10th. And this was during the time that Vana was actually still teaching English. So I had him for creative writing and I had him for English. And I really enjoyed the class. It made me feel very welcomed. I was a very shy kid, could not talk in a lot of my classes, which is not a problem anymore. But I was very anxious during the time. So it was really nice to talk to people who felt the same way I did. And so I was like, I'm going to continue it. So junior, senior, and then, just the whole experience. By the time I got to senior year, the Echo was like official thing. It was its own literary magazine. We were publishing, we were making the book. We were, collecting submissions during the time. Because when I first was into it, it was just the creative writing people. It wasn't anybody else. Seeing it grow over the course of like 3 years was surprising. It was shocking. And it really, I think, helped me get out of my own bubble, like talking to people and interacting with other students who were just, into things that I was. And it's one of those things where I look back at it now I'm really glad I did it, as well as I did yearbook during the time. So I'm really glad I did both because it got me more involved in school. I have things to talk about when I talk about high school. And, you know, I'm glad they were able to like push me outside that bubble that I was putting myself in.
Yeah, absolutely.